WrestleMania is the biggest night in the pro wrestling calendar. Even if you're one of these marks who tries to make a big song and dance that it's not, you're just making yourself sound silly. Yeah, we get it. You want to be that guy? Great. Good for you. Now get out of here, because I want to watch WrestleMania. You can tell it's held in this regard because of how people treat it. If it all goes to hell and is really shit, fans will moan about it for weeks simply because they always want it to be this life-changing event. When it's not, a small part of them dies. It's like a flower in the winter. The flip side of this is that when it's good, it's hard to describe the feeling you get. It's as if all your dreams have come true at once, but you're not asleep. A large reason for such success is, of course, how the show goes off air. Even a terrible Mania can feel special if WWE get the ending right. It's that last feeling that ultimately dictates how you sum it up in your old brain. I'm Simon from WhatCulture. This is the 10 best WrestleMania endings. Number 10, celebrating the Hitman. The closing moments of WrestleMania 10 have Bret Hart defeating Yokozuna for the WWF title before a large portion of the locker room emptied, came to the ring and hoisted the Hitman onto their shoulders. It was a massive moment for all involved, mostly because what had happened the year prior. Doing his best to carry the company, Bret was the man that was never supposed to be, rising to prominence and shifting all of WWE's plans. There were countless spanners in the works, such as the debacle that was WrestleMania 9, but here, the company's greatest workhorse finally got his due, and it was awesome. You could tell how much it meant to Hart as well as his peers and the fans too. No one felt rubbish experiencing this, and it was the ultimate feel-good moment to end the pay-per-view. A proper celebration. This is what emotion in wrestling is all about. Number 9, a deal with the devil. A controversial choice this, given what came next, but shock and awe are always powerful tools, and using them in the right way creates talking points that are hard to ignore. This is why when WrestleMania 17 came to a close and had arch rivals Vince McMahon and Steve Austin shaking hands, it's hard to beat. We'd seen the two go after each other to such an extent through the Attitude Era that seeing them on the same page was like watching a cow make love to a duck. It just shouldn't be happening, yet you couldn't take your eyes away from it. In short, you were shocked. It's also always nice when the showcase of the Immortals ends with a twist, and I defy anyone to come up with a bigger one than this. Austin went from hero to bad guy in a few minutes. While it never came off that way, this was still the sentiment WWE wanted you to take away. All of this makes the ending a historic one, and one that underlines where this feud came to an end. Furthermore, sports entertainment would never be the same again. While you can argue that's because it was for the worst, a fact is still a fact. Number 8, Bryan's triumph. The best thing about the ending to WrestleMania 30 is that it was never meant to happen. It was never meant to happen when he started to get a bit of momentum, and it was still never meant to happen when he was the most over guy in the company. And it did happen. It was absolutely wonderful. Seemingly held back and screwed over for almost a year, crowds would routinely hijack segments of Raw to let their feelings about Bryan be known, and it simply got so loud, management couldn't ignore it anymore. He forced his way into the main event, and when he got the success everyone wanted him to have, the feeling was as real as they come. On top of that, it was the happiest of all endings. It didn't matter what had come before, and seeing 75,000 people all reacting the same way was just spiffing. Number 7, passing the torch. WrestleMania 6 was different in that it featured a babyface versus a babyface, a path WWE were always very skeptical about going down. Pitting Hulk Hogan, the world champ, against the Ultimate Warrior, the IC champ, it was dubbed the ultimate challenge, and every fan worth their salt wanted to see what was going to go down. It had people guessing from start to finish, and seeing the Warrior actually vanquish Hogan to become the man at the end of WrestleMania was bittersweet. On the one hand, a new hero had risen up, but on the other, a legend had fallen and a changing of the guard was in place. Still though, seeing Hulk pass the belt to Warrior before the two embraced in the ring was something no one who experienced it will ever forget. It was a genuine pro wrestling moment for the ages, hence why people still talk about it today. And why I've just talked about it right now. Classic. Number 6, Shawn Michaels' boyhood dream. Whether HBK's actual boyhood dream was to win the WWF title at WrestleMania, we don't know. More likely he wanted to be a space cowboy or something. But that didn't stop the moment from being a special one. Proving that he was not only one of the best wrestlers on the planet, but also a future superstar, Shawn Michaels iron matched his way to success at WrestleMania 12 by engaging in an absolute classic with Bret Hart. Hitting him with sweet chin music and overtime to claim his prize, Michaels dropped to his knees, tears in his eyes, and celebrated like he'd just won the lottery. Given how long he'd waited for this, it was hard not to get caught up in the spectacle of it all. And McMahon's call that the boyhood dream has just come true for Shawn Michaels was the icing on the cake. Good times, this. Number 5, Bye Bye Shawn. If there was a moment that was more emotional than Shawn Michaels winning his first ever world title, it was at WrestleMania 26 when he wrestled his last match. Battling The Undertaker in their second consecutive war at WWE's premiere event, the two once again put on a top-class performance that ended with a tombstone and HBK saying goodbye to pro wrestling for good. Along with how great this encounter was, it was Shawn's powerful goodbye that really drew a line under everything. Going up the aisle one last time, it was handled with dignity and class, and there was a real feeling that we'd just seen a legend walk off into the sunset. It's because we had. Number 4, The Return of the Warrior. Remember what I said about how WrestleMania can be saved if the very last thing you see is amazing? Welcome to WrestleMania 8. Dogged down by a horrendous main event between Hulk Hogan and Sid Justice, it was made even worse when the DQ finish was botched, so not only was it an unsatisfying ending, it was a broken one too. Within a flash though, none of this mattered. With Hogan being beaten down by Sid and Papa Shango, the Ultimate Warrior returned unexpectedly, flying down the ring to help his fallen friend. It was one of those times when you involuntarily just leapt out of your seat, and the energy both in the arena and pouring out of TV sets across the world that night was unforgettable. An unbeatable finish to the show is the prime example that the closing seconds can mean everything. Number 3, Austin's era. At the close of WrestleMania 14, Jim Ross screamed at us that the Austin era had arrived, and you know what? He wasn't wrong. Not only did it signify that we had a new WWF champion, but it was also the catalyst for a whole new era of pro wrestling. When you think of it like that, good grief, was it important. Much like Bret Hart's rise at WrestleMania 10, Austin had been a year in the making too, and his victory over Shawn Michaels and coronation was proof of the 12 months he had just had. Having legendary boxer Mike Tyson raise his hand didn't hurt either, and everything came together to let you know that this was a big deal for both Stone Cold personally and the company as a whole. It garnered mainstream media attention given the personalities involved, generated buzz for Steve Austin, and ignited the WWE to heights it may never see again. So with all that in mind, it's a pretty damn good ending to WrestleMania. Number 2, Brothers in Gold. Hindsight is a funny thing, but in 2004 when WrestleMania 20 faded to black, fans have been treated to quite the moment as Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit were treated as the top 2 wrestlers in the company. Respected for years due to their work ethic and talent, both had always felt held back, but that all changed here. With Guerrero beating Brock Lesnar at No Way Out in February for the WWE title and Benoit winning the Rumble and then subsequently making Triple H tap out in the main event of this Mania, the two came together to celebrate their victories as every piece of confetti in history fell from the sky. Their hard work had paid off and fans lapped the whole thing up. It's a shame it can't be seen in the same way with modern day eyes. Number 1, Seth Rollins cashes in. There's so much to love about Seth Rollins' cash-in at WrestleMania 31, it's hard to know where to begin. For starters though, it was coming off a match that everyone had written off as a dud. Roman Reigns vs Brock Lesnar was expected to be a waste of time, so when it proved to be anything but, fans in the arena that night were already jazzed. Lesnar had hurled Reigns around for 15 minutes, and the brawl had a very edgy, real feel to it. It was impossible to figure out who was going to win, which is why when Rollins' music hit, everyone busted a gut. Running to the ring as if he was being chased by a mad gunman, Seth handed over his briefcase and took his rightful place at the top of the mountain. The fans exploded, some quite literally, and the shocking twist ending was perfect. It was so perfect, I'm not sure WrestleMania will ever be able to top itself. But even if that is the case, it can always remain number 1 on this list. Know of any other amazing WrestleMania endings? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can even come follow me on Twitter at SimonMiller316. I'm Simon from WhatCulture, and I'll speak to you again soon. Hello WhatCulture, my name is Simon Miller, and today I have an announcement so big, so huge, it's gonna shatter the very foundations of your life to the point you may need to phone up a friend and say, I don't even know who I am anymore. I have just heard the news. Have you heard the news? They'll probably say, no, I haven't heard the news, but you're already on the phone to them. You've already connected with them, so I would appreciate it if you either tell them the news or send them to this video. Thanks. So what is the news? Well, it's nice and simple. I've heard you out there. I've seen you've been commenting. I've read your tweets, and I can now officially let you know that if you do enjoy Raw ups and downs, if you do enjoy SmackDown ups and downs, that now you'll be able to set your watches to them. You'll be able to make notes in your calendars, because we're gonna have an official time for when they're gonna go live. I know, massive. So ups and downs for Raw will go live at 2 p.m. GMT, that's British time every Tuesday, and they will go live at 2 p.m. GMT every Wednesday.
for SmackDown. So you don't have to be aimlessly walking around anymore going, what do? I want to know what got up and what got down and what Seth Rollins did or what AJ Styles is up to. Now you know, 2 p.m. GMT Tuesday, 2 p.m. GMT Wednesdays, ups and downs coming at you in the face. I realise what I just said, retract that, keep moving on, and I hope to see you there soon. And I hope that we build an audience so big that if I ever wanted to march an army anywhere in the world, I could, and we'd call it the Ups and Downs Army, because I haven't come up with a better name. So yes, just to reiterate, Raw Ups and Downs, 2 p.m. GMT Tuesday, SmackDown Ups and Downs, 2 p.m. GMT Wednesday. I cannot wait to bring this brand new era in, and unlike other brand new eras, I've already let you know exactly what you can expect to see. Come on, 2019, Kenny Omega, we don't know where he's going, but you do know and you can always rely on Ups and Downs.